Solvete omnes. Acroasis VII, caput secundum, pages 15 through 16, on adjectives. Recognitio, review. What are the parts of speech? We should know these pretty well already. We should know our partes orationis. We have nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. And today we're going to focus on adjectives. De adjectivis, concerning adjectives. Quid est adjectivum? What is an adjective? And as your book tells us, an adjective is a part of speech that adds information or modifies a noun or pronoun. Congruentia, agreement. An adjective must agree with the noun or pronoun it modifies in gender, whether it be masculine, feminine, or neuter. It must agree in number, whether it be singular or plural, and it must agree in case, and we're still getting used to our case endings. Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, and vocative. Alright, so let's look this all up together. We have on the screen the declension in the singular of rosa, rosae, feminine, rose. And we're going to show an adjective beside it as we go through, and I'm going to give you some example sentences to remind you of how these cases work. So we're going to talk about my rose, rosa mea, and this is in the nominative case, so a good example sentence would be my rose is beautiful. Notice that my rose is the subject. Rosae meae. My rose's fragrance is sweet. Now you see in English we do have a genitive case in English, and that's represented by that apostrophe s. My rose's fragrance is sweet. What should stand out to you though is that in English we do not add anything special to the adjective in order to indicate that it's in the genitive case. Not so in Latin. You'll notice that it's rosae meae. Both the noun and the adjective must function in the same case. So we move on to the dative. Rosae meae. I give my rose water. I give water to my rose. Rosam meam. The farmer praised my rose. The farmer is the subject. The rose is the direct object. We represent the direct object by the accusative case. Rosa mea, the ablative. The butterfly rests on my rose. Notice that first use of the ablative that we're learning, the ablative of place where. In rosa mea. Notice that both forms have macrons. And last, the vocative, rosa mea. Now we use the vocative for what? We use the vocative for direct address. So, oh my rose, how lovely you are, because I'm directly addressing the rose. Declinatio, we're going to go ahead and practice what we've just learned with a noun-adjective pair that you should be very familiar with. So we're going to look at the word for country, native country, or homeland, patria, patriae, feminine, meaning fatherland or native land, and we're going to talk about my fatherland. Now, this is a first declension noun, and it's going to follow the same patterns that we just saw on the last page. So really this is a review of the first declension. What I would like you to do when I tell you is to pause the video and on your paper take time to write out the declension of patria mea, my fatherland. You'll notice that the endings are going to look exactly alike at this juncture because they're matching in case, gender, and number. So go ahead, pause the video, write out the declension. Once you have it written out, come back to me and we'll go over it. Alright, welcome back. So let's go ahead and check our work. Read it with me. And if there's a place where you see you need to correct it, pause the video, write your correction, and resume. So let's go ahead and read through it with me together. Patria mea, patriae meae, patriae meae, patriam meam, patria mea, patria mea, plural. Patriae meae, patriarum mearum, patriis meis, patrias meas, patriis meis, patriae meae. Exercitatio. We're going to put some of this new information to practice. So I'm going to give you an example sentence. He knows much philosophy. Now, let's look at that highlighted word much. That is an adjective. Now, adjectives have to describe something. What is that adjective describing? It's describing philosophy. Now, let's think to ourselves, that word philosophy, what is philosophy doing in that sentence? He knows much philosophy. Philosophy is receiving the action of that verb know, because it's what he knows. He knows philosophy. And so therefore, it is going to be our direct object, and in Latin we use the accusative case to express that. Hence we have philosophiam. Notice that accusative ending. Much, since it has to agree in gender, number, and case, is going to be multum philosophiam. He knows multum philosophiam. He knows much philosophy. Let's look at our next example. We are standing in the ancient gates. Look at the highlighted word ancient. Ancient is an adjective. What is the noun which ancient is modifying? Gates. So we are standing in the gates. In the gates. In is a preposition. So far, the case that we have learned that works with the preposition in, as in we are in a place, is the ablative. That is the ablative of place where. So we are standing in the gates. And so we were standing in portis. Notice it is ablative plural because we have more than one gate. So in portis. Now, they're not just any gates, they're the ancient gates. So we think back to that adjective. What adjective do we know that means ancient or old? You got it. In antiquis portis, in the ancient gates. We are standing in the ancient gates. Now for the last one, I'm going to let you do this on your own. What I want you to do is I want you to find that adjective, figure out what noun that adjective is describing, and give me that noun in Latin with the correct case, and then write the corresponding adjective also in the correct case. Please pause the video, write this down in your paper underneath those declensions we did on the last slide, and then press resume when you are ready. Okay, so we look at that word great. It has to be describing anger. So we know the Latin word for anger is ira, ira. Now, let's look at the larger context of the sentence. The deeds of great anger. The deeds of anger. That is one of the uses of the genitive. And so we have genitive singular, ira. What kind of anger is it? It's great anger. And so we have magnae irae, the deeds of great anger. Magnae irae. But we're going to get much more practice with this. If this was difficult for you, don't worry. We'll have plenty of opportunity. Right now, what I would like you to do is to go on to your homework on the Google Forms for Acroasis VII. Fill that out, and I will see you tomorrow, or you will see Miss Hatmaker. Valete omnes, and have a good night.